Just a few fellas on a podcast, riffing in the pitching jokes and sharing some laughs. Right, with Jarret Bernstein. Ooh, they want to know if it's something, if it's anything. Often featuring Leedy Corbin.
I actually have never picked up a prescription before, so it was my first time, and that was weird.
Very exciting.
Yeah, thrilling.
If you have any questions, Jarret is
I am all over
master.
it. Yeah. And can I just say how excited I am for you? Like, it gets better every single time you do it, and it gets easier.
Jarret, are you welling up? Is that a tear in your eye? I'm just so proud.
It's like in Ratatouille, I just flash back to, a 12-year-old Jarret with his script for the first time. Yeah, exactly. Well, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Is This Anything? I just got up from a nap, so I'm feeling
I
groggy.
heard that in the way you were saying. I was like,
yeah, there was a little grovel in your voice.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Jarret's story is going to be about how he's sick.
No, just a post-nap. Just post-nap,
right.
Jarret. Had a very fun weekend. Can't wait to tell you guys about it.
All right. Well, tell us about it. What are we waiting for?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so a friend of mine made his Broadway debut this month, so I got to go see his play. He was in Thornton Wilder's The Skin of Our Teeth, and we went over there, said hi to him, saw the show, got dinner with him afterwards. That was super fun.
Were you on time for the show?
Say again?
Were you on time for the show?
I was on time for the show.
Just barely, though?
Actually, yeah, as a matter of fact.
Did you make it by the skin of your teeth?
God damn it.
Okay. But here are the things that I really wanted to tell you. And then yesterday, Kirsten and I saw we saw the Nicolas Cage movie where he plays himself.
Oh, fun.
Title is a real mouthful, so I'm not going to attempt it here.
Mm-hmm.
And we also saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was also good.
Ooh, I disagree, but I don't know if I want to take up the whole the whole time.
Well, no. So I had
about it.
a lot of catch-up stuff sort of like built up for you guys from being on tour. And so if you'll allow me, there are two things that I really want to talk to you guys about today. And one
Jarret
is
so catch-up horny right now. It's just all pent up.
I haven't caught up with anybody in weeks.
Tell me what you had for lunch.
I'm about to catch up all over your face.
Leedy,
All right.
appropriate face.
Yeah, that face is excellent.
Okay.
Because sometimes Leedy's just like, no, it's just my thinking face when I'm drawing. But this time she's like, no, I hate this.
That was half thinking face and half a reaction because I was making part of the face that I'm going to be drawing, which is going to be Jarret's coming face.
Yeah. We can get Kirsten in here to tell you how accurate it is. All right.
And by the way, judging from that, Jarret's coming face is...
It's just the eyebrows.
Is that supposed to happen?
I gotta call my doctor.
That is what I say after every... Is that supposed to happen?
I'm sorry, can I just pause you?
No, of course.
Because like when you get sick, sometimes you're supposed to check your pee, check your stool, but I've never heard like you gotta check your cum, make sure it's still
obviously. Yeah.
looking at it on someone's back. You're like, yeah, it's pretty good still.
Oh my gosh.
Like good viscosity's there.
Do you hate when you go to the doctor? He's like, oh, and I'm going to need a little sample. And you're like, oh, I just came. I don't have to come anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well,
how recently? On the car ride over. I'm so sorry.
He gives you a cup for your urine, but when he needs the semen specimen, he just shows you a lower back. You can just give us the sperm sample here. Right on the tattoo? Right on the tattoo?
Right there. If you want, we could do belly button. Whatever. We got other options.
You got PPO, right? Yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay. So there was this bit that got started on our leg of the tour that I was driving and tour manager John Bander was in the passenger seat. And the reason why I wanted to specify that was it just didn't matter who was in the passenger seat. It was just that somebody was there. That's the only important thing. And so as I'm driving down the road, I see a sign, an exit sign that says Cox Corner, COX Corner. And it takes like a minute for it to register in my brain, like what it says and like what the joke could potentially be. And so the sign is almost passed by the time I think, and I just hit Bander, and I go, Bander, that's where your mom lives. Stupid joke, you know.
And you took the time to think of it.
Stupid joke, you know, it doesn't matter. But the thing that actually tickled me, and I think the reason why this became a running gag, is because what I didn't realize was that it was an exit sign. And so there was no urgency because there's one at 2 miles, there's one at 1 mile, and then there's one at the actual exit. So that was the 2 mile one. So then 1 mile later, I was like, dun, 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 dun. That's where your mom lives. Like again. And then a third time, that's where your mom lives. And then, because of the way that the tour was scheduled, we had to go back a couple of days later around the same territory. So we passed the same exit again. And so again, we had the exact same bit going again. But I'll tell you what my favorite part of the bit is that Bander's reaction to it went from just like, yeah, okay, of course, to being like upset at his mom.
Yes,
so
Bander's choice really made the bit delightful every time, because he just like, he would be like, God damn it, Mom, in reaction every time.
It was so great that we actually, after the show one night, we decided to take a little trip to a Chase just so we could deposit some cash. And while I was depositing my cash, he counted on his phone and he goes, "Hey, Mom." And I turned around because I was like, oh, this is going to be a bit. But he was actually just talking to his mom. So that's the Cox Corner bit. Just wanted to let you know about that, Rob.
That's excellent. That. If I see another Cox sign, you could have told me earlier. I'll definitely reprise the bit.
Okay.
I hope it just keeps on growing. I hope there's just like a Cox corporate group. Like, hey, is
that the company your mom started? All right. So that's the catch-up teaser. This is the one that I really wanted to talk to you guys about. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay. So I listened to a podcast called How Did This Get Made, where they roast bad movies. And one of the movies that they did an episode of recently was Over the Top, the arm wrestle movie starring Sylvester Alone that came out in the 80s.
Yeah,
and so I saw...
Stallone.
Wait, what did I say?
Sylvester Alone.
What?
Fine. I don't know. Two of us both
you
heard.
said it. I don't know.
I can't wait for this next episode of I'm Not Crazy, You're Crazy.
Did I say Sylvester Alone?
You did.
It
I
sounded
did.
like it.
All right, well...
Maybe something got cut off, but that's what I heard.
All right, well, we'll check the footage. Starring Sylvester Alone that came out.
We know you will.
We know it's going to come.
So, I'm like, all right, I saw this movie when it was on cable all the time when I was a kid, but I want to rewatch it in honor of, like watching the episode, listening to the episode of How Did This Get Made. And when I tell you that I've seen some pretty bananas movies in my life, but I have never seen a movie that was strange in this way, because that movie, I don't know if you guys have seen it or if you haven't seen it recently, that movie is like, the aesthetic of it is the man-boy love association. Like, it's about Sylvester Stallone, he's like on a cross-country trip with his son and he's getting into arm wrestles on the way. But there's just like a weird vibe to it where it doesn't seem like it's his son. It seems like a rom-com about an old man and a 10-year-old boy. It is the weirdest fucking thing. And there's like a lot of like weird, like, like he's helping his son do like an arm wrestle. He's like arm wrestling some kid. And just like the language, just like, yeah, get it, push it. Yeah, get it in there. And then at one point, there's like a big emotional speech where Sylvester Stallone is like trying to tell his son like how much he loves him. And he literally says, "There's something in me that I want to give to you." That's like the line where he's like, "I don't know how to express myself. I'm just a truck driver who arm wrestles, but I have something special in me that I want to give to you. I want to give it to you with the thing in me. I want to give it to you."
So if I missed the first 5 minutes of this movie where they establish the father-son relationship, this movie just plays out like a really strange, horny older man coming into a kid.
100%,
Awesome.
yeah. And
Nice.
so Sylvester Stallone's character is named Lincoln Hawk. That's his name, which is, I think, a hilarious like 80s character name. Just like, this guy's gonna sound cool. Lincoln Hawk. But then his son's name is Mike. So his son's name is Mike Hawk. Mike Hawk. You
My
know, the
cock.
street where Bander's mom lives. My cock.
This is my cock. Oh, it's
my
good.
God.
When did you
So
rewatch this?
weird. I watched this the weekend that I got back from tour, and Kirsten
wrestling?
wasn't here yet. Kirsten wasn't here yet, and so I was high and I was sick, and I was just recovering being high and watching silly movies.
Nice.
But yeah, it was bananas. So there's like a moment where he pulls over the car up by the side of the road, and he's like I'm pretty tired, and so his son's like, okay, well, should we stay at a hotel? And he was like, I was thinking we could just sleep here in the truck, like truckers do it. I just thought it'd be cool if we slept in the truck. And his kid's like, okay. And he's like, well, if you get tired, you can use my shoulder as a pillow. And the son's like, no, I think I'm okay like this. And he's like, well, how about in the morning we wake up and we get a little exercise. I was like, okay, sure. And then they have this exercise sequence the next day where it's like working out together on the truck.
Oh no.
Oh, guys.
But is it not still just a nice father-son movie? Like,
No.
are you? No,
It's like,
not.
it's almost as though some guy wrote a movie about like seducing a 10-year-old boy. And then just like one person was like, I feel like if we made it father to son, it would be a lot easier to get made. And the guy was like, that's not my artistic vision, but okay,
That's funny.
Oh.
I've never seen it. Can't wait to watch.
Yes, please do. I was just going through, I was texting Kirsten at the time. The other thing is that the music, this is the thing that really sells it, is like all these scenes between Sylvester Stallone and his kid have romantic music under it. It just doesn't fit. It's like literally this movie is for the North American Man Boy Love Association, NAMBLA, to watch and to be like, see, look, it's possible for a man and a boy to have a beautiful
Inspiration.
romantic relationship together.
funny.
Also, I jerk off to this, but that's not the point of the movie. It's just, it's
Have
evidence.
you looked into this any further? Like, in the way of like, has the internet, sounded off, and have other people agreed with you on this? For one,
I have not done any Googling, but there was there was very passionate confirmation of my opinion by listening to the How Did This Get Made episode, because everybody on the episode is also basically echoing the same sentiment. Like, it is weirdly romantic between the father and the son. Highly recommended. Over the top. Highly recommended. That's what's up
Brett,
with me.
what are you guys up to?
Speaking of gay undertones, I watched the new
Top Gun.
Netflix documentary about Abercrombie and Fitch, and it was great. It was fantastic, and I didn't know any of it. You should give it a watch.
When you said, speaking of gay undertones, in response to Rob saying, Brett and Leedy, what's new with you? I was like, what do I not? What am I forgetting?
Undertones.
The founder was this sort of internalized homophobia gay man who wanted to found like the most country club, cool guy store. And instead of hiring people based on how they would work in their resume, that you were only supposed to hire hot people. And then the managers were supposed to rate everyone in their store from cool to like rocks or something, which was a weird like bottom.
Wait, rocks is the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure because you could be like, he rocks. I was like, that seems like a real lateral. Like, oh man, I scored awesome instead of cool.
The main CEO guy said so many problematic comments. He made it clear that this was only for white people and no one else was welcome, basically.
Yeah, he was like pretty open about being an exclusionary brand. Like when people were like, what do you say to this criticism? He's like, yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah, there was a whole controversy, I remember, where they weren't selling like larger sizes. And he was like, well, I don't want fat people to wear my clothes. So
In other news, Leedy and I got a robot vacuum to help with the kitty litter that gets strewn about.
Hey, that's great. Can I see the robot?
Sure.
Oh, very cool.
Leedy, you get to name it, and Leedy named it Suck Suck. And it is very funny because we can hook it up to the Google Assistant and tell it to the Google Home, like, hey, tell the vacuum to clean, the kitchen. And it sounds like Google doesn't know the word vacuum. Because it'll be like, starting Suck Suck in the kitchen. It sounds like Google thinks vacuuming is called Suck Suck.
Suck Suck. That's
I
great.
love that. That's a delight. Well, Rob, what's going on with you, buddy? How's the road?
Road's been great. We're in, where are we right now? South Bend, Indiana. Today we do not have a show. I'm not officially off. It's been crazy because the whole I've been experimenting with. I have these SAT students. I'm a tutor as well, and I can do it remotely. But I went on the road with Steve, which is a pretty grueling schedule, as you guys know. And I was thinking, I was like, well, I want to try to do it, but I want to maintain my students. And so I had a pretty crazy 2 weeks here of doing the shows and still getting in usually a student or two every day. And it's been kind of nuts.
That is insane.
Literally just wake up, drive, like hope that I get to the hotel by, what's funny is that I'll schedule them for like 4 p.m., which is really 3 p.m. because we're in the Midwest. And then, you know, our call times, we have to be out of there by 5:20, 5:15, 5 o'clock, 4:45. And so the 90 minutes or 2 hours that I normally would get to myself is out the window. And it's been going on like that for, 10, 11 days straight.
Oh,
it's getting
boy,
crazy.
Rob Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's been
God,
nuts.
I feel bad for you, man.
Yeah,
That sounds really hard. That sounds really, really hard.
It definitely has been tough, but it's been keeping me like very focused. Like I've not been allowing myself to like drop the ball. So and usually I get in these modes where like good decisions beget more good decisions. So like I'm just like, well, I gotta get up and eat well and exercise a little bit because otherwise I just won't get through this day properly because I've got just so much to do and think about. And then if that weren't enough, which it would have been enough, then my boss keeps on like, I don't even understand why. I do not seem to remember, I've been in this job for a couple of years now, this time of year being so frenetic, but I keep getting emails being like, we got a brand new student for you and she has a test tomorrow. Can you meet tonight? And I was like, I don't remember this happening all year. This is so bizarre. And it's hard stuff. It's like, oh, there's an AP chemistry kid, there's an AP physics kid. This person needs to know trig. This person needs to know algebra, advanced algebra. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I literally last night, this girl, she was like, hey, I got a test tomorrow. Are you free? And I wasn't. I was already on my way to the venue. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. I was like, look, if you want, you can text me some questions and I'll just answer them. Like, I can do that. And that was actually worked out really well. So like throughout the course of the night, she just texted me like 6 or 7 questions that when I had downtime, I was like, yeah, that's an acid, not a base. Sorry. That's acetic acid. No, you got to give the protonic donor, not a proton acceptor. What are you doing? And so John and Andrew making fun of me like, what are you doing? I'm like, I gotta teach this girl chemistry. She's not getting it.
What a weird innuendo.
No, guys, she's 15. You don't understand.
Oh no, we get it. Trust me.
No.
I watched Over the Top. I get it. I know what you're talking about. That's so insane. Because also, like looking at you, just like every like 3 seconds, your phone's going off and you're texting. You just be like, "Oh, Rob's got a little lady on the hook here." And
I'm like, no. Just teach her about chemistry.
Again, I don't know why that means that, but I'm happy for you, buddy.
No, she's in high school. You don't understand. All right.
I understand you're doing the Crystalia method of becoming successcal.
No, I'm getting paid for this.
Children. Well, that's bananas, Rob. I can't imagine. I've got like these hobbies that I'm doing, like making videos for TikTok and learning how to code and stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll continue that when I'm on the road. And the second that I got there, I was like 100% no. Like this is the downtime is necessary. God, man, I hope that you're okay. I hope you're
good. I've been doing well.
You know?
I am happy that it's like ending. It seems like the amount of time that you can kind of push yourself in that kind of way without cracking too bad. It's also good too that I'm able to make this extra money on this side hustle too, because it's like, okay, good. So when I get back home, I can definitely veg out for a bit and then pick it right back up. I got one more push like this. Unfortunately, Leedy will be on the road and I'll be in the similar boat. So I just, John and Andrew, they're going off to have some food. And I'm like, I can't. I have students today. No. Yeah.
Oh, I feel for you, man. All right. Well, I'm going to be thoughts and prayers for you.
Thank you.
To rest and relax soon.
Yeah. Tonight's going to be not bad. I only have 2 kids, and then I'm done at like 7:30 or 8, and then no show. So 8 p.m. on. Man.
You got a plan? What's the plan?
No,
you
I don't. But
you gonna get a job?
There's like nearby.
Try to get some part-time work. Go down to a local Chipotle, see if they can
do it. We're gonna be a lumber guy for the weekend. There's a carnival. It looked like nearby. Maybe they'll open up the carnival and I'll have fun.
And you can get a job there. All right. Anything else for the catch-up, y'all?
No, I think we should just move on to the jokes.
All right, move on to some bits. Our order this week. Are we letting people guess?
Yeah, let's let people guess, and then let's give a little time in between so they can guess. Anybody want to guess the order? Now's the time. Throw it in the chat.
I have a question while this guessing is happening.
Yes.
So I know why Rob is tired, and I just woke up from a nap. Is there something that's keeping Brett a little low energy today? I think we're all a little, low energy.
I definitely developed something from getting sick on the road. I often have a bronchial reaction to anything sinus related, and so I'm probably getting bronchitis. So I'm a little fatigued. I had a lot of trouble sleeping because I had to cough so much. Could not lay down and cough properly. I had to like sit up each time.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
So yeah, that's what's going on with me.
It is completely insane to me what's going on right now, where Rob is just like exhausting himself to death. You guys are both sick, and I'm like, I watched this movie and it was weird, guys.
Well, we could debate about everything, everywhere, everything, but debates. That's I don't know.
Rob, I feel like if I
Fun for me.
engaged a part of you that was like, I need your brain to do some work and talk about this movie, I feel like you would just start like withering away, like the guy in Thinner, Like, oh, Rob, what happened? You lost like 5 pounds just on that Zoom. I had to tell Jarret why that movie was terrible.
Well, we do have some guesses now. Johnny
right.
said 1, 2, 3, and then a monkey emoji. I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably not it. And then Axeman, our first winner, says RJB. So let's see. What is it, Jarret?
Are you sure? Did Axeman win last time?
Yeah.
Well, he wins again. RJB.
Get out of here.
Somebody hacked
Axeman.
my algorithm, I think. Someone.
Yeah.
2 wins. Wow. That's amazing.
Well done.
Yeah. Anybody else even guessing? This guy is crushing it.
He's killing them all.
Well, once we figure out your first prize, we are going to figure out your second prize. I promise you.
Yeah.
Once we give him a prize, we're going to be like, this is what happens when you win it twice. You get this. All right.
Wow, impressive.
Well, Rob, let's hear your bit, and then you can go take a nap.
Oh, that sounds well. Yeah,
my
I
turn.
can't. I have a student after this, so I can't take a nap.
Oh my goodness.
I'm loving it. This is I like it. This has been the most downtime I've had. This is chill. Usually I'm more peaked. Anyway, I will tell you this. It's not going to be about the movie specifically, but this is funny because me and John Bander, our tour manager, went to go see everything. And I was sitting in the theater and I was just watching and I'm just like just absorbing it. I'm just like, oh man, there's so many things that I'm just like.
I know nothing about this movie. Could you give me a quick brief description?
It is a movie about the multiverse, about a woman who owns a laundromat who discovers at like the 10-minute mark that she is involved in a multiverse like battle with this like multiverse big bad, and then it sort of like unravels from there.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some character development, I think, throughout.
Lines, relationships, plot, stakes, that sort of
Stuff.
thing.
I mean, maybe that's what they tried to make. So anyway, after I watched the whole movie, because John was like, oh, I want to go see this movie. I was like, oh, I was really interested in seeing that movie too. Cool. But because he initiated, I felt in my heart like it was like a him movie, as if he was like, oh, I want to go, and I tagged along. So I didn't want my seething hatred for it to ruin his night in any kind of way. And so we're coming out, we're pretty quiet. And I'm just like, yeah. And he's like, so what'd you think of the movie? And I said, you know what? I don't want to go. You tell me. I don't want to go first. But you say first, because I have my reasons. I just want you to go first. And he's like, oh, I know your reasons. It's like, if your body language wasn't enough to suggest that you fucking hated it, you were visibly shaking your head no several times throughout the movie. I was like,
You're getting his attention.
And that was the Rob who didn't want to show your cards. You didn't want to,
I was like,
but it was emanating from your body. What if you didn't care, Rob? What if you were like, I can't wait to tell Bander how I think about this movie? What would you be like?
what the fuck is wrong with this movie? He was like, John's like, I've walked out of movies. He's like, I'm surprised you made it through just based on how much you were just like, I was like a toddler. I'm like, oh, movie, what's happening?
What did Bander think? Did you like it?
He definitely disliked it as well, which was great because I didn't want to yuck his yum, and I was like, if you liked it, like, look, there's things about it that were good, and I can pull some stuff out, and the performances were good. There's a bunch of good stuff about it. I was like, I just have too much that I was like weird. There's a point, Brett, where it looks as if the movie may have ended, and I was like, thank fucking God. And then it totally doesn't, and it goes on for like 35 more minutes, and I knew it wasn't over because I knew it was just like a fake out. But part of it was like, if it just ended, it would have been fine. It would be fine. I'm totally fine with it ending right now.
So my overall review of this movie is that I liked it. I thought it was great. There were certain things that I did not care for. There's sort of like a gross aesthetic to it, which just kind of like bugged me. Like there were a bunch of times I had to be like, oh, I don't want to look at that, you know?
Okay.
It was like maybe like that much too weird for my taste, but on the whole, I thought it was great. I really liked the morality of it. That's my 2-second review for you guys.
I like it.
Rob, have you got a 2-second review, or is
it failed at everything it tried to do?
Okay.
And it tried to be too many things, and I was like, "You're not the Matrix.
Did it
Don't
try to be everything
You're not
everywhere all at once?"
Yes, basically. You're not Scott Pilgrim. You're not as cute as that movie or as well handled. But there's elements of that where it's like, "Oh, we're being surreal." I'm like, "You're not doing it well," or it's trying to be like, this is the end, like that style of like gross out kind of comedy, but I'm like, you're not that funny. And then it's like all the things that I'm like, I see what you're pulling from. I see the masters that you're pulling from, but you are failing at it, you know? And it was kind of this is Michelle Yao. This is whatever. And the kung fu's terrible. The fight scenes are awful. And I'm like, that's such a shame. I mean, she's older and whatever, but it doesn't matter. I'm like, it's just a shame. And I was like, who the fuck choreographed this? This is dumb. Everything was got cranked up and it was all like
looks
stylized.
Like we got another classic "Don't Look Up" tiebreaker here in Brett and Leedy's courts. You guys gotta watch this movie and let us know officially who is right and who is wrong.
Yeah, I got too hot about it. I don't want to get hot about it.
I would absolutely watch it if it didn't cost me anything.
I do remember when we were watching Shang-Chi, Leedy had a similar moment because she hates Aquafina. And there was a part where it looked like she was going to die. Like she's falling off a building. And Leedy goes, yeah! And then somebody catches her. She's like, no!
I wanted to go so bad.
Oh, that's really funny.
It sucks so much.
They were considering
she is, very
Aquafina for
irritating.
that movie. Also,
What's that?
Really?
They were considering
Really?
Aquafina for that movie. She actually dropped out, and then they cast the girl that ended up playing the daughter.
Wow, because I think that she did a really good job. I was
agree. I
happy
thought she
with
was
her,
great.
and I don't think maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't. Obviously, Leedy agrees. I don't think Aquafina would have been right for that role or done well in that.
Or any role.
Or any role.
But you guys watch the
it and we
movie.
will let you know who's right.
Sound off in the comments. Do you think that this movie was good, or do you agree with Rob that there were not enough white people in it, and that's why he hated it?
And another thing.
All right. And speaking of Rob Ryan, let's hear.
Wait, one last thing.
Ooh,
Lee and
okay.
I started watching Hannibal.
Ooh.
And the first 2 episodes are really good, and then the show becomes absolutely insane. But Lawrence Fishburne is in it, and at one point he is wearing sunglasses, and Leedy was like, "Why does he look like Morpheus?" I was like, and she to her credit, she caught herself. She was like, "Wait, is that Morpheus?" And I was like, "Yeah."
That is so perfect.
It's terrible.
That's great. That's great. I think, Leedy, that speaks to how not racist you are, because not only do you not confuse black people for other black people, you don't even confuse black people for themselves at a younger age. You're just like, surely that's a different black man because I know so many.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
You think? But Angie saw.
Sometimes when black people remind you of other black people, it is true. They are that black guy.
You think she's not racist, but she saw a picture of Maya Angelou and she was like, Orpheus.
What's she doing in Hannibal?
All right. Our order this week is Rob, Jarret, Brett. Rob, Jarret, Brett. Order this week is Rob, Jarret, Brett. Rob.
All right. Oh, I got so many little ditties I can say.
Ooh, you should do jokes.
You ever get so tired you want to kill yourself? I just wrote that on tour today, guys.
What a ditty.
Okay. I forget if I actually mentioned this to you guys, but have I ever told you how you can feel like if you've never been to another country, if you've never traveled to another country, and you've always wanted to know what it's like, how you can do that? Do you guys remember this premise at all? Mm-mm. Oh, okay. Well, if you've never been to another country and you want to know what it's like, all you have to do is just go downstairs to your nearest convenience store and just look at the items on the shelves as if you have no idea what they are and you don't recognize them. That's it. That's what like a good portion of it. And you just pick it up and you're like, oh, Doritos. Oh, interesting. And then you just purchase it. And that's it. That's what you do. Anyway, that was a thought that I had because I experienced that many times every time I've been abroad, where I'm just kind of like looking at like all these different things are in Asian languages I don't understand, or there's just like weird products that they have that I have no idea, and I'm like, I'll take this. This looks like a cheese puff, maybe. I don't know. It's something like that.
I think that is really funny.
Sorry, the observation's there, but I'm trying to, how should, maybe I'm not packaging it right then.
I think if you have to say, most of traveling, and I've done a lot of it, is going to a convenience store and not having an idea what it is. Right now, I'm a little bit short on time, and I don't have the ability to travel, and I miss it. So I've just been going down to a 7-Eleven and acting like this, like, is this? Can you read what this says? And the guy's like baked Lays. Oh,
okay. We should. Let's get that. Let's get.
Chapstick. This looks delicious. It's got little cherries on the package.
No, does this come with utensils?
That's funny. That's good too. I could do the other cultural things. Go to a pizza place. Oh, do I do it like this?
You go to places and you look around to see how other people are eating it.
You go to a TGI Fridays. The waiter comes over and is like, "All right, have you decided?" And so you just don't use words, just like scared and just like point.
That already is a lot more straightforward. Sometimes I do this, and I don't know if you guys can empathize with this. Where like, I don't know, the obvious and the straightforward way to tell a joke, I'm just like, I don't want to do that, and then I'm trying to like skip something, reinvent the wheel, blah blah, blah. And then every once in a while, you're like, you can just start from the beginning, tell people your premise, and then go on. So sometimes I'll get caught up in that track.
I think you're getting to a very silly point, which is you not pretending you don't know. And that image is very funny to me. That is a comedy thing that tickles me in a very deep way. Have you ever seen Earth Girls Are Easy?
No, I never have.
It is Jeff Goldblum, Jim Carrey, and
Tommy Davidson. Right?
Tommy Davidson. I think it's Damon Wayans.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Jarrett's more racist than Leedy.
Lawrence Fishburne or Maya Angelou.
All right, I have one little other idea, and maybe that'll take up my time.
Right.
This is also just as half-brained as the other one. I like when people marvel over ancient civilizations as if at the height of their, civilization, it wasn't akin to like a podunk town in upstate New York. They're like, look, they had a government. I'm like, what the fuck? Yes. They had buildings, and look at the courthouse. Like, what the fuck? Who cares? It's like a shitty town in Delaware. I don't fucking. They're not that impressive. I don't know. It always just bugs me. It's not that good. And then some of the things that are impressive, they just cannot. I hate how we still are just like, how'd they do the pyramids? I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, it's not that. They're these big triangles in the desert. Like, who cares how you think? Just think of the smartest way to do a thing. That's probably how they did it. Like, I don't know.
That's very funny.
I don't understand. Anyway, that is just two of my gripes with that.
If you can work showing somebody in whatever town, New York, a sundial, that would tickle me.
the reaction to that. Do you know what this is?
Well, it reminds me a little bit of, there's a town in Oregon where they have this Shakespeare festival every year, and they have Ashland, yeah, and they have this like water fountain, this like spring water fountain that's supposed to be like rejuvenative. So there's like just water like constantly coming out of this, and if you go to there, you're supposed to like taste the water, and some people hate it and some people love it. I can't imagine any human being loving it. But it sort of feels like that, where it's like, we have this really gross water. Well, I guess we should tell people it's good for you. And then the thing that we do can be like having people drink it and then talking about how bad it tastes. You know, like, what do we think? That could be a thing, right? Yeah. When you were going through your list of like all the things they have, I almost wanted you to go like, yeah, so does Buffalo, and that town sucks. You know?
Right.
Like
Yeah. Yes. And I don't know, I guess the heart of it, because I'm always trying to think of like what's getting me underneath, is like humans have been as intelligent as we are for a long time, and whether we've been able to, capitalize on that consistently has been spotty throughout history, right up until today. We still have plenty of, like, we should be not so marvel at the fact that we accomplished so much, whatever, 5,000 years ago, but more that like today, like we can't get our shit together, in certain areas or in certain things today. Like that's, I don't know, something along those lines, maybe.
So sincere answer to this question is that we needed, so, like you've got a guy today who, if you put him in ancient Greece, would have been able to come up with all of the incredible mathematical innovations that they would have had then at the time, but instead he was born today. So instead of having to learn and develop all that, he just gets that knowledge and then is able to continue on top of that, standing on the shoulders of giants, etc.
Sure.
And so I think that, and this is where, because I like the idea, I think it's funny, but there's this is one of those stand-up things where whenever I hear the premise, I just answer the question in my head, and I'm like, it's because they didn't have cranes, like that's why we're impressed, like there were no cranes back then, there were trucks,
But you just replaced cranes with slaves and you got it. It's done. Like, I don't understand. It's not that confusing. It's just like, yeah, when you think about spending all of your time every day just doing one singular thing, which is building this triangle, you're going to build the triangle. It's like, I'm not that impressed. It takes like a guy who's pretty good at math, pretty good at math, to come up with the fucking shape of a goddamn pyramid. And they're like, yo, but you don't understand. It's like, I'm like, I understand. It's
Rob,
not
you
like
don't understand.
It's
they didn't have
PhD level
computers to tell us what triangles were back then.
And then
figure it out themselves.
And then as far as the engineering is concerned, it's like, yeah, it's tough. Like, I'm not going to say it's not difficult, but again, this was like their sole thing. It's like the thing that they did. And so if they all committed their resources, I'm like, I'm not that flummoxed by it. That's all.
Have you seen the video of the guy who like proves that building Stonehenge is not that hard?
You know what? I've seen videos like this. I saw a group of students like recreated it in some kind of way.
I saw this like a long time ago, like in college, where he was just like, yeah, I'm a stone worker, and like this is, I'll show you. He's like, I'm gonna move a 2,000-pound rock by using a frictionless other stone. I'm going to use like slats to get it on top of there, and then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to show you how you can lift it up. And then he has like a whole system of kind of like a Rube Goldberg, and it's,
right.
It's if you if you could commit all your time to thinking of that, like you would just be like, okay, well this and that patterns. That makes this easier to move. What if I try this? You'd be able to use gravity to do all these things.
We'll go back to what Rob said. What if that video was just like, yeah, I just got slaves. Like it's really easy to build Stonehenge when you use slaves.
Tons of slaves.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's funny. It's a great video to watch. Yeah, so I was trying to figure it out, and then I figured, well, how about I just throw human misery at it until it solves itself? So I watched a video on a water system on how to do the pyramids, and that it's not bad because there's a bunch of aqueducts that lead directly to the pyramid. So it makes sense that they could have had these like floating, these kind of like boats type of things that were floating these rocks from these stones, rather, from down the river to the aqueducts, bringing them in. And then they could have had this other thing. And then the big caveat at the end was like, but that's a lot. Our engineers came up with this today. I'm like, yeah, and they could have as well. I just, if it worked, it worked. They're there. they exist. So someone did it. So like, let's just start with that, like aliens, or how is it possible? Like, what different, they exist. So let's just start there. And I had a lot of thoughts about, I had some trans material that basically went the same way. I'm like, you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to know the biology of it perfectly. You don't have to be like, wow, yeah, but genetics, and there's like, Ben Shapiro arguing like, oh, biological woman. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you know it or not. And then a geneticist comes in, like, well, technically, you can, I'm like, even it doesn't matter if you know it. There's enough people out there that are just saying it, so they exist, and that's it. And then I was thinking about, because I think I brought this joke to you too, about the, what was it, about bumblebees or
oh yeah, they can't fly. You don't know.
Yeah, they're like, they can't fly. I'm like, they're flying. They're not wrong. You are wrong. And so I had this, I started making these connections. I was like, oh, this could be a whole thing. And I was kind of getting excited about the idea. I was like, yes, all these things do follow the same thread.
What are the things that we're doing today that in 10,000 years in the future, they're going to be like, I can't believe they did that.
Yes.
And what my first thought was, well, what's the only thing that we're doing right now that's kind of like amazing and outside of technology? And I was thinking, like, what if there's some of our art that we shouldn't be able to do until we have robots helping us work out our emotions? I'm just like, can you believe they did, Breaking Bad? Without a TI emotion response modulator,
I like that as like a brand new idea. If I were to just like, extrapolate that, I would just say, look how many Chipotles they have. How'd they do that? How'd they get that many Chipotles? It seems impossible. Just like something that's super mundane and stupid, and they're still marveled by it.
Or what if it's like, can you believe how much income inequality they had back then? It's like, usually you need a Tor the Oppressor to do that sort of thing.
Great. Yeah. So those are my two.
I do love the idea of like, it doesn't matter. They did it. That's the answer. They did it. Yeah. If you were Nike,
what if
that
they
would
did
be
it?
your slogan.
That's funny.
They just did it.
They just did it.
They listened to Nike. They just did it.
That's great.
I
love that. Then it's aliens. I can always say it's aliens at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is the argument that you would like to hear?
Well, to reverse engineer, they're there. They obviously did it. All we have to do is it's incumbent upon us to figure out how. And whatever is the best answer that you can come up with, even with your modern sensibilities, and you think you're so special and unique because you just happen to live in this year, you're not. And if the best idea you come up with, it works, then until we have a better one, until we can think of something else, then that's probably how they did it. And that's just my intuition every time. They're like, well, I'm like, if it's possible, no matter what thing, like, I don't know, barring like, the limits of physics and science. And I'm like, yeah, the human ingenuity, that's what they did at that time. I'm not sure how, and I'm using this by saying like the intelligence level is not, arguably, we don't know for a fact, but arguably not very different for the last 100,000 years.
I would argue that it is lower on average.
That's a good point too.
It takes way less because of the cushions of the society and the foundations that have been built for us, and us standing on the shoulders of giants. It is way easier to be a dumb, relatively unfit person and have offspring that survive well.
Yeah, that's true. Leedy's upset.
All right.
Let's hear from our dumb, unfit offspring.
I'm right here.
We're talking about evolution. Everyone take a shot.
I love
Is that it for Rob, everybody?
Yeah, you guys are great. Thank you so much.
Just to finish out that point, if you, no matter what situation you are, if you're in not a third world country, if you're in our country, whatever your situation is, if you told any of your great grandparents or beyond, like, oh, I'm really struggling, they would be like, why? Why? How? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know how great you have it? You can make your apartment, you can make where you live hot or cold. You can just make hot or cold happen. You can just do that.
Grandpa.
You don't get it, how hard it is to get likes. All right. All right. Rob Ryan, great job.
Thank you.
Next up, we got a Jarret Seed. Okay. All right, my turn is gonna be real short today because I don't have a lot of confidence in these bits. You ready?
Oh.
I didn't mean to make you sad. Sorry.
Wait, what did you say?
I said I don't have a lot of confidence in these bits. You guys ready? And Rob went, oh. 1 year for Thanksgiving, I decided to volunteer at a soup kitchen. And a friend of mine asked me to his Thanksgiving party, and I was like, nah, man, this Thanksgiving I'm feeding the poor. And he goes, poor people? And I was like, yeah, people is the only thing that can be poor. That's all I got.
I like that.
I tried it once on stage with an act out, like, look at these birds, they have nothing. You know?
Tickles me more is that poor actually, there could be another meaning where it's just like, they're poor in some sense, like a poor quality or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like you're feeding like the poor looking, you know, just like a bunch of ugly people or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, except for those poor turkeys, those poor turkeys. But what I instantly am in love with is the idea of what does poverty look like for animals, like, you know, and what metric would be used for that. Because I remember I watched this like little quick YouTube video on a shark that was just like huge. He was way too big, but he just happened to catch himself in this like river delta where all these fish would just literally just come right into his mouth. And he just would chill there, just like, oh. And he was this obese shark because he's just this like fat, lazy shark. He's like, I'm gonna give you more fish, and it's great. And I'm like, this fish is like, he is rich. He is like the humans that Brett has just been making fun of, where he's like, yeah, but if I sit here all day, every day, fish just float into my face. I don't have to swim. I don't gotta do nothing. And I was like, that's so cool. And then you think of other animals, like there must be poor conditions, you know, for animals. They starve, right? Bears eat their young when they're starving, stuff like that. So yeah, that tickles me so much. Just like finding these little pockets.
I think if you actually ignore the logic of what Rob is saying, that animals can be poor, if you can kind of get over that, and you can anthropomorphize like impoverished raccoons, and that is just hilarious imagery.
Yeah. Oh,
you know, just like
these monkeys they can't even afford shit to throw. You know?
yeah, absolutely.
They're out there begging for poop. You know?
Yeah, I haven't seen any squirrels with cups of change. Can I have a nut, please?
Cups for nuts. You know, spare nuts.
Yeah.
What I've always found interesting too is like, because I was in Thailand and there's just a bunch of like, you know, stray dogs there, like everywhere, and some of them look pretty mangy too, you know. But it's so sad to me because it's like, when if you were to see a wolf or a coyote or a fox or some other animal like that, like they look majestic and awesome, even though their life is tough, but whatever. But then the dogs looked terrible, you know, they just looked bad because like we sort of put infrastructure around them that does not suit them well. And now we made them poor. It's like, now you're a poor dog. Where before you would have just been like a wild dog. That would have been cool.
Or a dead dog.
Or a dead dog. Yeah, either
or an old dog.
Or a raw dog.
There's a game called Elden Ring that I started playing, and you can leave messages for the other players, but you can't write whatever you want. You have to use like a script that's like, it'll say like careful blank ahead, and you could choose a word. So you choose like a little preposition, and so the people are constantly making like jokes out. At first I was just like, do all these people have inside jokes? Because it'll always be like, you don't have the right. Oh, you don't have the right. And it would always be like in these formats. I'm like, why is everybody doing these jokes? But the messages are very funny because within those confines, people will find funny things to say. So like you'll find the big turtle and there'll just be like 15 messages around it. And they all say dog ?
My roommate has been playing a lot of Elden Ring. And so I get this whole reference, everything about it.
Oh, great. Awesome.
I know the messages. I know the limited script thing. It was actually really fun because I've heard other video game stories from you and have been completely just, you know, I'm like, just take you at your word. But I know Brett's not lying about this one.
You know, I was lying.
You weren't confused. You just thought Brett's just making shit up.
Well, Brett's got like a notebook for like fake video games he's got to tell Rob about, just so he has something to talk about during his anything. I've been playing Spiegel Spaggle, and it's this open world puzzle game.
Rob's like, yeah, okay.
Some of the stories are weird. Oh, you're a really fast hedgehog? All right, buddy.
Yeah, this hedgehog is really fast and wants rings. I get it. Yeah.
And you're saving animals from being turned into robots.
That all tracks to me.
Anyways, but back to your joke. I think if you can do impoverished animals, I think that is a whole playground, a whole sandbox for you to play in.
All right. All right, I got this one other dumb thing here because I was watching Sword Art Online, this anime.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
And there was like this character in it that was like kind of like flirting with this other character in there, and kind of like being a little sexual with, you know, like referencing some things, like kind of like dancing around the edges of being sexual but not being sexual. And in my brain, I was like, "There's not going to be sex in this because this is not like hentai. This is like an anime, you know." And I was like, I don't think there's sex in animes. I think that in the world of anime, you're either no sex or getting raped by an octopus. Like, I don't think there's no middle ground, right? Like Basic Instinct. Basic Instinct is a movie that's not porn, but there's like a lot of sex in it. So there's no anime that's like that has like a little bit of sex in it.
I think that is very funny, and I don't know if that is relatable for me because I have watched a bit of anime, so I think that is you're hitting the nail on the head there. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't
probably
know if that's relatable
not
to everybody.
Yeah, probably not universal enough.
Yeah, I don't know the references as well. The rape by an octopus thing doesn't like tickle me in the way that I'm like, oh, I recognize that as being true. I'm just like, those are funny words put together, I guess. So I don't really know, but this is like a take me into your world type of joke where it just might be more of your responsibility to walk
paint the
through
world
this
for everybody
a bit more. But I want it to work. It seems fun.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like when I think of hentai, that is like the image that comes to mind. It's like something crazy. It's like a woman being swallowed by a monster, and then like it has 15 arms and stuff like that. So that getting raped by an octopus did conjure up like an image that I think is iconic with hentai.
I think we're learning a lot about Rob today. Like, he doesn't believe what Brett says. Some jokes he doesn't want to work on stage.
I don't want to work on stage? Oh, because I said I do want this one to work?
You start to work on stage.
So that suggests that there's other ones that I'm like, I do not want this
If he doesn't say that, we can assume that he doesn't want that joke.
Oh, God, no. Every time.
So I did. So anyways, guys, I worked on that joke a little bit. I tried it on stage, and it's working really great. No thanks to Rob.
That's tough. That's the old, hey, Leedy, you look great today. Does that mean I don't look good other days? Maybe, I don't know. I was a little lost too because I was still thinking about your last joke where I kind of like the fact that there are some animals that are perceived as poor animals to us for some reason. Like when I see like a flock of pigeons, I'm like, oh honey, let's get out of this same neighborhood. Like it just seems like there's so
like
like
pigeons and rats are like poor animals.
Yeah, exactly. Like we should hang out here. I don't know. And then you see like an eagle. You're like, oh, whoa, nice neighborhood. Look at this. Look at that.
Brett, can you tell them about the guy with the salamander in the jar?
There was a guy talking to himself when we were walking back from getting food right before a show. And he was like in the bushes up high on this thing, like we're going to walk right by him. So I was like, hey, why don't you get on this side of me? And he's going like, there's a salamander in the jar, salamander in the jar. And I'm like, I don't want to look because I don't want to give attention to it, but I also want to know if I'm about to get he's definitely holding something. It's get thrown at me. And I look, and it is a salamander in a jar. And it was in a tequila bottle. And he was like, he's probably drunk. And I was like, oh, this went from totally crazy to like, yeah, he's just having a good time. And he's right. There's a salamander in a tequila bottle, and it is probably a drunk salamander.
You're my best friend, Salamander. All right. Anything else for these bits, everybody?
Salamanders have been hit particularly hard with alcoholism, so it's a little
insensitive.
Yeah. They're not a very wealthy, to-do animal, you know? I love the whole concept of rich and poor animals. You just got it. That tickles me so much.
Okay.
Oh, hello, Mr. Penguin. Oh, well. I didn't realize they were wearing this is a black tie event.
Maybe
There are
there's
certain animals that we-
there's something in there with marine life with bottom feeders and maybe a whale shark that's letting like the little things like I like to give back.
Whale's got barnacles on them. You're like,
Yeah.
it's all right, buddy. Go ahead. That's really funny.
I'll put a little elbow grease into that. And if there's nothing else, then it's time to talk about the Patreon. Patreon.com/ITA-pod. A lot of great exclusive content on there. Some excellent additional tiers you can jump on. Patreon.com/ITA-pod. And next up, we got Upper Drug.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Here's something that I went off on stage kind of half formed with like this idea tickles me. I never really got it into joke form, and it still kind of worked on the few shows that I did it on. So maybe you guys have some more ideas for this. Jarret, you probably heard it. I love to mess with people's targeted ads. So if somebody leaves their phone near me, I'll just get real close to it and be like, Vaseline, I have really dry skin. I need Vaseline. And then I'll just watch them scroll on Facebook like, what the hell is this? That's it. That's the idea. It's just messing with somebody's targeted ads. I think it's something that's relatable. It's not really overdone. But I don't know the best way to approach it. It actually has done pretty well most of the times I've done it. But I feel like it's not really in a joke format right now. It's just a silly idea.
I can confirm that has been doing pretty good, Rob. So just let you know, he's not making that up.
It sounds. I have to look up this Vaseline first. What this is.
Thinking about it now, I am curious about the idea of heightening this bit. Like, what are some other things you can yell in there? Like, because also NSA is probably listening, so you could be like, Vaseline, I have dry skin, death to America, Vaseline.
Then the targeted ad becomes a targeted strike. It's a whole different type of target when you start doing that stuff.
Yeah, maybe I would say but I make sure not to do anything that the NSA would.
Right.
Oh,
Take
yeah, I like that.
Here's something that's plucked from real life. If you have a friend who's been dating someone for a long time and you start whispering into the phone about like engagement rings, then they get a lot of ads for engagement rings, and couples often scroll together. So the partner would then look at the phone and be like, "Ooh," you know? Because I remember when I started looking up engagement rings for Kirsten, I was I used a private window because I didn't want to pop it up on my Instagram and have her ruin the surprise.
That's smart.
Yeah, that is smart.
What's a good like genuine motive for me to want something in somebody else's relationship? So like there's not really a reason for I want somebody to get engaged or anything like that.
Yeah, the chaos element of your joke kind of makes me smile. It's just chaotic. It's just random chaos. Yeah,
right.
There's fun to that.
Well, if you wanted to fuck with a guy who just started dating somebody.
Or I could say, one of my friends is dating somebody this new girl, and I do not like her, so I've just been doing et cetera, near his phone. AshleyMadison.com, cheating all the time. Can't stop cheating. Sexaholic.
Because, I think just like ads for Tinder would probably do that also, wouldn't it? Or medication for sexually transmitted diseases.
Oh, that's funny.
For some reason, and maybe this is I'm completely in the minority here, Lawrence Fishburne, but I think he's a minority. I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
He's the one I know, so it's probably him. So maybe
that was the most unnecessary aside I've ever heard on this show.
I would have liked it if you were like, maybe I'm in the minority here. Bill Cosby, canceled.
Right.
Anyway, so what you were going to say about minorities, Lawrence Fishburne?
Yeah, so I may be in the minority here where I think because it's not like officially proven that that's exactly what's going on with our phones, but it's almost like we say it, we know it, it's like an open secret, right? But just that one little additional thing makes me like the fact that your joke is just doing the random silly chaotic stuff, because I don't know, because if it gets too plotted and there's like a whole thing, you're like, well, I know couples do this and this, so I decided to do that. It's just like, yeah, but the premise is kind of weird because we don't even know if that's 100% true. We're just saying it. So I kind of like, here's a goofy thing that we all kind of believe that we think is true. And hey, look at everybody, it's John Bander.
Hey! Tour manager John Bander.
John Bander. Say hi, John.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, he did it. All right. That's great. Hi, John.
That's the guy whose mom lives on Cox Corner, everybody.
Anyway, so I don't know if my thought was valid there, but there's something about it that it's like, yeah, that's why I like keeping it silly. Vaseline, little pranks that mean nothing,
Right. Yeah, I guess maybe, is there a way that it could backfire on me or something like that? I don't know if there's another element to add to it to make it more.
Well, your phone's nearby you too whenever you're doing this, so they're just all over the map. Because I've been doing it with different products all the time. I got Vaseline for this guy. I'm trying to get this guy an oil change. I'm trying to do this, whatever. I just like the idea of just like constantly like, what is going on? I'm trying to get this person to see Bridesmaids. You have your fingers in a lot of pots for some reason. You're just trying to pull these low level pranks.
What if it ended up being helpful?
That's what I was gonna say too. It'd been fun if it's just like, hey, it worked out. Yeah, man, my skin was getting dry, but now I just got randomly advertised this lotion on Instagram and it changed my life.
Turns out that rash I had was syphilis. It's just like
saved my life.
On my phone one day.
People come to you, Brett, please whisper things into my phone. Because the phone whisperer.
All right,
I feel like there's more room to play with the idea of this. Like I'm thinking like, maybe there's maybe I could take this and be like, it doesn't work with real life, which I've done with other jokes, which is like, you can't just, if I want my girlfriend to buy me whatever, I can't just be like, hey, Vaseline, I got dry skin, give me Vaseline.
That is funny if she's sleeping and you're just like, just trying to whisper things into Leedy's ear so she'll buy you.
Thank you guys. Great suggestions. Excellent episode. But now, before we end it, we're going to turn it over to Leedy after Rob sings her in.
Well, we don't have a lot of time, so it's going to be a real quick song.
All right.
Find it all into one. Is it newly? Oh, she's coming in.
That was incredible. I have.
I don't want to see. Hi, Mom. Broadway, Cox Corner. There's so much going on here.
This is
so many jokes here.
So this is I'm all pent up from having not a lot of catch-ups to do, and so I'm jerking off with all the catch-ups, the ideas of the catch-ups that I'm gonna do.
So we've got Broadway, we've got Cox Corner, we've got Sylvester Alone, arm wrestling. And,
he is alone.
Why am I calling my mom and saying hi, Mom? I forget what I told her.
That's Bander.
That's Bander.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's got so
that's great. And Jared's jerking off of it because he's just so pent up on catch-ups.
so happy.
That's a very happy coming face.
Yeah, not the concerned
You
one.
disagree, Jared?
I'm just saying I'm usually not. I'm happy on the inside, but I don't think that reads on my face when I'm orgasming.
For this next one, it's not really a drawing, but I want to show you a drawing I tried to make, and then it was so bad that I screenshotted it and then deleted it.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It's a little like Jay Leno, actually.
I like it.
It does. It totally does. It's so shit. That's Sylvester Alone.
Sylvester Alone crying.
Oh no, Sylvester. And the fun point of this is that there's a screenshot of Leedy's computer, which she searched Sylvester Alone.
I
See
did.
it.
Did you?
Yeah, that's what came
Can you
up.
bring that back up?
Yeah, she searched Sylvester Alone. And he does look a little forlorn here, so that's
He does.
excellent.
Then I have.
Looks like me.
What did you think of the movie?
We got Rob, twitchy-eyed, real, the holding in his angry thoughts. And what did you think of the movie?
That's excellent.
Thank you. Then I have. There you go. That's it.
We got a bulldozer that we got 10,000 years ago, and then we have a slave being whipped by an
It's like a pharaoh,
Egyptian.
some sort of Egyptian pharaoh, yeah.
Then I have. Sure, Brett.
Rob completely not believing the video games that I've spoken of.
And last but not least, sweetie, don't make eye contact.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what makes me laugh. Geese,
We have yes, go ahead.
Oh,
Describe it,
geese who are clearly wealthy and they're having a Louis Vuitton bag. Her mother telling her daughter or son to like move past the poor pigeon because the pigeon's got a cardboard sign that says, "Please, anything helps." She says, "Sweetie, don't make eye contact."
That Louis Vuitton purse. What an excellent detail, Leedy.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
That is great. Perfect.
That's it for me.
Yay.
People
Leedy
can find you
Corbin.
at Leedy Corbin
Mm-hmm.
on all the socials and Leedy Art on Twitch.
Yes.
And
Patreon.
Yeah, join my Patreon.
patreon.com//
Vaseline.
Leedy Corbin. Vaseline.
Well,
I'm back on tour with Steve starting May 9th, too.
So am I, bitches.
yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us. Another excellent episode. We had so much fun. You guys rock. Thank you for chiming in the chat.
Outro goes here. Thanks so much for watching. Check back every Monday for new episodes, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to help support the show, tell your friends how much you like Is This Anything? Or get involved, like an episode, share, comment, subscribe. If you want more Is This Anything, you got to join our Patreon at patreon.com/ITAPod. We have a ton of awesome exclusive content on there, and you can join for as little as $1 a month. Check out the links in the description, and hopefully we'll see you next week.